We're joined by Congressman Hank Johnson, the chairman of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Courts, the Internet, and Intellectual Property. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman.
Well, I'm so happy to be with you today.
What would you say are some of the most pressing intellectual property issues facing businesses today? And what would the House Judiciary Subcommittee on IP's agenda or priorities be to address those issues?
Well, we want to make sure that the climate for inventors, people who have to obtain patents, is effective and efficient. So the types of patents that are issued are many and varied. And so our patent examiners have to be quite skillful. They have to have the kind of equipment that they need in order to assess these patent applications to determine patentability. And so the standards for patenting various inventions is something that we need to look at. That's called Section 101 of the Patent Act. So Section 101 reform is something that we must look at in this country to make sure that we remain competitive and at the leading edge of innovation throughout the world.
So on the Senate side, Senators Coons and Tillis have begun discussions with industry stakeholders on potentially reworking the definition of patent subject matter eligibility. Do you have any plans to address this in terms of bringing forward legislation or having hearings on this issue in coming months?
Yes, we will be having a series of hearings, hearing from the stakeholders about what is the best way forward. And then once we go through that process, we'll be crafting various proposals that will be included in legislation. And we'll be working with our counterparts in the Senate to make sure that we come up with legislation that is best suited for this new environment that we're in, which is really technologically loaded with new products. And so it's important that we make sure that our standards are up to world standards. And in fact, we need to set the standard throughout the world. That's something that is very important, that is a goal of mine.
Shifting gears to copyright issues, the Music Modernization Act was a focus of the House Judiciary in the last Congress. I was wondering if moving forward you expect that momentum on copyright issues to continue. Where do you think there may be some gaps where legislation may be needed? Well,
I think the passage of the Music Modernization Act was almost revolutionary. First real big change in decades. And so it's still in the process of being implemented. And what we have to do is conduct oversight hearings on all phases of the copyright system to ensure that from a musical perspective that it is working as intended. And if there are any modifications that may be necessary down the road, we want to keep an eye on those. We want to get out in front of the trends and not let things go so long that we work ourselves into a situation where we have to do dramatic change. So I believe that the Music Modernization Act is a framework that should work, and we're very proud of that product. We just need to now make sure that it is working.